The Athletic's Fred Katz reported recently that Jalen Brunson is considering signing a 4-year, $157 million extension, which I believe is this Friday the Knicks could offer him. But this is the big one. Jalen Brunson will become eligible to sign a contract extension on Friday. However, he could earn a significant pay rise by waiting until next summer. The amount, about $112 million more, because if he waits until next summer, he could sign a 5-year, $269 million contract. Jalen Brunson, Mavs pushed him to the side. They didn't want him. The Knicks were like, we will take you. And then Jalen Brunson goes out and averages 28.7 points and 6.7 assists on basically 48% shooting this past season, and probably should have had a bigger argument to at least be more in the MVP conversation, in my opinion. But I want to know, do you think Brunson should actually wait until he signs his extension next offseason, or the Knicks may have to let him go? Do you think he should wait?
I read the articles about this, and I've studied it. I mean, he's 27 years old, so you got to think that he'd get another shot at a very big contract. There's a good opportunity for that. If he takes the 4 years, $156.5 million it takes him through 28-29. That's 39. Averages $39.1 million a year. He's got security, right? He could, if he waits a year, he makes $26 million this year. That's his contract, average contract value. So he signed a 4-year, $104 million contract before. So $26 million is not chump change.
No,
that's
well,
for sure.
You're in New York.
Yeah, right.
Tax is not great for you.
In New York, the taxes are high. I don't know if he lives outside the city. The city taxes, you add that on. The state tax, the federal tax, man. You're paying a lot of tax living in New York. But he can also get lots of endorsements in New York, more than he could get elsewhere. If he waits for the next year, plays on $26 million this year, which is not chicken feed, and signs a 4-year, $269 million contract through 29-30, that would average $53.8 million a year. It's an extra $113 million a year. That looks really good.
Yeah.
Or he could sign this extension, $156 million, and then get a player option through in year 28 and 2028, which would allow him to become a free agent. And then he will be in the range now where he have enough longevity as a player to be eligible to sign for 35% of the salary cap in that year, which they're estimating could be a contract of $418 million. Okay, that looks pretty good.
That looks great.
That looks great. And, he would make up the amount of money he would make from 25 to 30 under the 4-year contract. If he waits till next year, is $269 million. He'd make that all up and then some. His last year of the $417 million, he'd be making $95 million a year to play basketball. So I think you have to look at that. He'd be 30 years old when he had that player option. I think he would have had a contract, almost made $157 million on top of a contract of $104 million before that. Still young enough to command that Supermax contract, $417 million. I think it's a kind of a hard decision. I think it is a difficult decision. I don't think he has any interest in playing anywhere else. He has deep ties to Leon Rose, the president of basketball operations for the Knicks. He likes Tom Thibodeau. His father is an assistant coach for the Knicks. The Knicks are winning. That's great. He's surrounded himself now with the Knicks have surrounded him with his college buddies. They just picked up Mikal Bridges. They have DiVincenzo and Josh Hart as well. So almost the whole starting five is going to be Villanova players, which is really interesting. I'm not sure that's ever happened before. He was 5th in the MVP voting last year.
Should have been higher, but
yeah.
I'm not going to be.
First All-NBA team. That was nice accolade for him. One of the league's biggest names playing in Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. Can't do much better than that. But that security out there for that the extension, $157 million. Sometimes the small point guards often get injured. And that could happen to him. He had an injury at the end of the very last game of the playoffs there, the seventh game in the second round. He broke his hand. He understands that the team that has too high a payroll may lose its resources, and the Knicks could be, not as competitive because they paid so much for their salaries that the penalties and the way the CBA works could wind up having them lose some of their resources. And you got to remember that Randall he's going to be having a contract coming up next year. Whether they want to keep him or not remains to be seen. Bridges is a free agent in 26. They're going to need a center or re-up with Robinson. A couple of years, Embiid might be out there. They might be able to get him.
Now with Paul George there for the next few years.
Anunoby just got a 5-year, $212 million contract, which I think makes it tough for Jalen Brunson to take that extension. I think when you look at that, I think it's almost an insult that he would get the 156 when Anunoby is getting over $200 million on a 5-year deal. So my gut tells me he's not going to take the extension. So he's going to play the $26 million.
You think he's going to go for the $269?
It's going to. I think he
5-year $269.
5-year $269, $53 million. You know what? Even if he got hurt this year, he'll still get that deal. I think he'd still get that deal, even if he got hurt. I mean, it couldn't be a really, a career-ending injury, of course.
Well, yeah.
But that's unlikely for a guy who's 27 years old. So I think he's going to lean to that bigger contract, and he may be able to structure it in a way that he'd still have that shot at the supermax down the road somewhere. Or maybe they
we
compromise.
just saw Paul George at 34, 35. He's getting a $200+ million deal.
I know.
So yeah, you're right. He could potentially
he's 34 years old.
Yeah.
So, but point guard a little bit different when you get a little older. I think. Paul George is a forward, so
that's fair.
He's not going to have to be running around kind of the way that Brunson does. And Brunson's game is one where, he's. And he's like a football player to get inside to get those easy shots. So I think it's a really hard decision. I'm not 100% sure, but my thought is he's going to hang out one more year for the bigger money. And with the idea that even if he got hurt this year, he'd still probably get that max contract.
I think New York would want him to get...
Yeah.
New York wants him to stay. I don't think they really care about the dollar price unless it's something absurd.
They got the money, too. They have the money. The penalties aren't going to hurt them that bad. Madison Square Garden is the mecca of basketball.
Right.
They pack... If they have losing seasons, they still pack it. The place is sold out all the time. The tickets are astronomically expensive. The television money is huge. The players all have, they have endorsement contracts around New York. They make tons of money. So even if he took that's one thing on his mind probably. If he took the 156, he's probably thinking, you know what, the city's going to feel sorry for me. I'll get all kinds of endorsements.
I don't believe that, but I will say that has Jalen Brunson deserved to get the 5 years, $269? Yes. He has played that well during his duration for the Knicks and the growth that he's had since he's been with the Knicks and kind of, I think, getting disrespected by Dallas, I'm sure, although they have Klay Thompson. Who would they rather want at this moment? Kyrie Irving, Luka, and Brunson, or Kyrie, Luka, and Klay Thompson? I'm not entirely sure. But has he earned the right to get that 5 year, $269? 100%. The problem with him getting that amount and him trying to push for that amount, and believe me, everybody should get every penny that they possibly can from any sort of job. If you're making large boats of money or have the opportunity to make a large sum of money, go for it. Because in this economy, you kind of need as much money as you possibly can. Loaf of bread, $15. It sucks. Not actually. But I think Jalen Brunson is going to play this incredibly smart just like he does on the basketball court. Because the first problem, if he does decide to wait, is the media, and we already know, everybody knows, New York media scrutinizes people like really no other media, sports media city does. New York heavily criticizes everybody, including us. Aaron Rodgers goes on a vacation to apparently Egypt, and for literally a month and a half, a lot of sports shows were literally headlining, "Where's Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers misses this day." For months. For a month and a half, for several weeks, that was a storyline. So I think if Jalen Brunson decides to not sign this extension for the entirety of the season, if Jalen Brunson has one bad game, it's like, oh, is he happy? Is he trying to force his way out of New York? If he has a great game, pressure on Tom Thibodeau in the front office. Are you going to sign him? Is this what you're going to do? It's a constant rinse and repeat. We already saw it in action this past season with Klay Thompson. After the 2022 season, Klay Thompson asked for an extension. The Warriors would not give it to him. Then all we heard this season was, oh, Klay Thompson, he's benched. He's disruptive. We heard a report recently about how Klay Thompson was just as bad as Draymond Green, except he wasn't knocking people out, stomping on people, punching people, putting people in chokeholds, but he was disgruntled. He was moody. He was all upset. Are we going to see the same thing from Jalen Brunson? At least from the media perspective, where it's constant questioning, constant scrutiny. The second part about it is how the NBA is now structured. Because the NBA does not want these super teams going around, they impose these first apron and second aprons. Well, the second apron is not that great if you're a team trying to win, if you're a team still trying to build, which the Knicks kind of need because they just lost, in my opinion, their best center. I think Hartenstein's better than Mitchell Robinson. So if you lost him, and by the way, he's making like $29 million to most likely be on the bench, but I think he's good enough to come off the bench if one of them gets hurt, regardless. If the Knicks go over that second apron, which, by the way, LeBron narrowly navigated by taking a few $1 million less for the Lakers because they were that close, and look at them. They did a bunch of bad player option deals and just bad deals, player options, other contracts just on bad players, and they are not winning basketball games. The Knicks are winning basketball games. Why would you want to disrupt that? In my opinion, play it like the NFL. Take the hometown discount. Now actually a player that I think will not take a hometown discount is Julius Randle, because he's going to be eligible for an extension, I believe, next year. And I know I have a funny feeling that I think Jalen Brunson will sign this 157. I think he will sign it.
I don't think so.
Because
he's not going to take it. I don't think so. Nobody has ever done that. No one has ever taken a lot smaller money. It's never happened yet. This would be the first time. I don't think he'll do it.
If you can keep that core together, and by the way, you say Bridges is a free agent after 26.
Yeah.
Well, so is Julius Randle. So if you say, I'll take 157, you could re-sign Mikal Bridges a couple years from now. So you could keep that core of Villanova together for as long as you possibly can, for as long as it at least makes sense to keep them together.
Why should Jalen Brunson sacrifice for that?
Why
should he be the one to sacrifice for that? They gave Anunoby $212 million.
Who's going to sacrifice? Yeah. If it's not going to be Jalen Brunson, who's it going to be?
How about Julius Randle? Why wouldn't he sacrifice?
No, what I mean is Julius Randle's probably going to be out of there. Yeah. He's not going to want to sacrifice.
So, I mean, they won't go over the apron if Jalen Brunson sticks with his existing contract.
You can when you need to sign Julius Randle if you want him back. You will if you want to sign Mikal Bridges back. It's not about right now, because right now that team is basically constructed as is. That is basically a finished product. With OG, with Hart, with DiVincenzo, Brunson,
I think they're light
Bridges.
At center. I think that's a problem for them.
I saw something recently how they're banking on Jericho Sims to step it up. He's 25 years old. They want him to step it up and be their next big man.
You know what? They let him play a couple of years ago for a while, and he looked like
he averaged 2 points this season, I believe.
And then this year they didn't let him do anything. So I don't think Jericho Sims is the answer at center for them.
But making the move, and by the way, a lot of people agree that Mikal Bridges was the best move in the offseason. Period. The trade to get Mikal Bridges away from Brooklyn was arguably the best move, because
the best move for any team.
For any team, that's what a CBS sports writer Brad Botkin believed.
He doesn't think he thinks that's better than Paul George to the 76ers.
We talked about this before. I think Paul George is going to familiar territory. Who's hurt in the worst moments?
I think it was
Joel
a
Embiid.
great trade for the Knicks because it did put those 4 guys together who played together in college.
Well, not only that, they each complement each other great because Mikal Bridges is a 20-point-a-night scorer, which puts a load off of Jalen Brunson having to score 40 and then winning by like 2 points.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's also a great defender as well. That also leaves you depth, really good depth on the bench. That means DiVincenzo is probably no longer in the starting lineup, which means that Miles McBride is not your option A as a point guard or as a guard. You now can leave it to DiVincenzo. And that also means you move Hart from the starting lineup. OG's in there, Bridges, Brunson, that trio right there. That is great defensively, and then with Bridges and Brunson, and even Julius Randle, if you want to add the forward in, offensively, they're also incredibly good.
Well, we'll find out about this on Friday, right? Whether he takes it or not. My prediction is he won't take it, and we'll be on the show talking about it. Although if he takes it Friday night at 11:30 in the evening, then we won't we won't know.
Yeah, we won't know.
My feeling is you'll find out about it before the show on Friday, and we'll be able to know whether he took it. You're saying he's going to take the extension.
I think he should.
You think he should, but will he? Is he going to? You have to say one way or the other. Is he going to take it? I said I'm telling you, he's taking the new contract in 2025, a max contract, $269 for 4 years, $53.8 million a year. That's the one he's going to pick.
I think because the Knicks did a service to him that benefits the Knicks as well as benefits the morale of the team, getting that quad together. I think really re-signing OG, bringing in Bridges, having Hart,
losing Hartenstein,
which sucks, but and even throw Julius Randle. That's starting 5 right there. I think he does it. I think he does sign for the 157. Oh yeah, it was 157.
We'll know
157.
on Friday.
Because they're doing a service to the Knicks themselves because they're getting a great player, but they're also saying, you know what, Brunson? We'll give you another Nova. We'll give you another Nova Wildcat. So then you feel more at home.
Is there anybody left out there that they could get?
Is
there a good center? Is there a great center? That's too bad.
What, Tristan Thompson?
Was he a Villanova?
David Tice, I believe, is still out there.
Tristan Thompson is over the hill. I'm sorry.
I agree with you.
He's a role player now, a bench player.
Well, then you drafted a couple 6'8", 7-foot guys. You got Sims, who I saw today. They really, really like. So
yeah. Well, what else can they say? They can't go get anybody else now. They have to say they
let Alec Burks walk. They let Hartenstein. By the way, they could have only paid what 12 on average or total
17
contract.
million, I thought.
Yeah, total contract. They would be spending $12 million less as their max. Any team could have spent whatever they want on him, I believe. Thunder gave him what $89 million total, 29 per year, and meanwhile the Knicks could only give him 72.5. He went for the money.
Yeah.
He went for the money, which is fine. Get every penny you possibly can.
I was surprised. I thought they'd find a way to keep him, but they couldn't do it.
I don't think Mikal Bridges with that, or the idea of Mikal Bridges was that enticing. You could have traded Mitchell Robinson and made more cap space, but I digress. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.